Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is Sunday Night Live from a beautiful location, and we're talking about the latest Manchester United transfer news. We're going to talk about Bruno Fernandes, of course, because there's just so many different stories about this. I think it's really important as a Manchester United fan base that we actually do grasp what the truth is about this at this moment in time. And the truth is pretty much this: there's a lot of reports about Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United, and I just want to say very quickly, I've met a lot of really nice people while I've been here in Mallorca. One of these boats apparently belongs to Noah's dad, who I've spoken to today, and I spoke to Noah yesterday, so big shout out to them. Nice to meet you. If you want to take me out on the boat, we'll do some filming, that'd be great. But in seriousness, let's talk off about Bruno Fernandes. So look, there's a lot of stories been floating around the last 24 hours from Sport in Spain, from Italy, about Bruno Fernandes being a done deal to Manchester United, and the reality is, this is not the case. This is not the case. It just isn't. And I'd love it to be the case because I want Bruno Fernandes to come to Manchester United, but it's just not the case. The case is, if you look at the latest Portuguese reports, and they've been very adamant that Manchester United were the key races for Bruno Fernandes, they're sort of talking today, and different outlets, Record, the local papers, Ebola, they're all talking different things, but they're all basically saying that a deal isn't done. They're saying that Bruno Fernandes is expecting a deal to be done. They're saying that United are the front runners, but none of this stuff that we've heard quite a few times now about Manchester United being, about to sign him. I mean, there was talk that he was flying in today. I mean, I just don't get it. And then you've got obviously English outlets like Simon Stone sort of hinting that people are going to be very disappointed because this is not the case. Look, with regards to Bruno Fernandes, all I can say is this, and there's a very important thing I want to just say as well. Somebody messaged me tonight and said that Manchester United are not making signings until Bale leaves Real Madrid, because when Bale leaves Real Madrid, they can then buy Pogba, and then United have got money in their pocket. United are not a cash-rich club anymore. They've got to sell to buy. Who the fuck do you think you are, the owners of Manchester United? You absolute disgrace. If that is true, and I tell you what, if our net spend is more or less the same as what we've sold, and for anybody who's not, learned in that, so basically, if we sell Pogba for 150 million and then we spend 150 million on transfers, that's a bloody disgrace. That's a disgrace because basically we've only spent what we've generated. We ain't Stoke City. We're not that sort of football club. We've got massive revenues. And if they think that they can kid United fans and say, oh look, we've spent 150 million, but you've sold 150 million, you've actually spent sod all, and the profit out of the club, which runs into 100 millions, is gone into your pocket. So look, you've got to be very, very careful about that, but it's more of an August the 8th thing, to be honest with you. Not in for that at all. We'll have to wait and see, but it did worry me a little bit. And also, look, let me just say about Bruno Fernandes. I've always been very confident United were going to sign him, because I've known that United have been after him for a very long time. As you know, a couple of seagulls flying by, obviously United fans. I've always known that United were in for him, always known that, but obviously it always comes down to whether the board actually sign him or not, and that is the same with everything. Got a little bit of breaking news with you about Harry Maguire, which we'll talk about in a minute, but with regards to Bruno Fernandes, what I would say is hold your I need to say something else. Hold your cocks. No, that's disgusting. Hold your horses. If you've got any horses. If you haven't got horses, hold your cocks. But no, seriously, hold on, because the reality is that with Bruno Fernandes, nothing's changed from last week, where apparently we weren't in for him. Now, nothing's changed. There is no credible source that we're about to sign Bruno Fernandes. The best case scenario, I would say, is that we're going to sign Harry Maguire, then we're going to sign Bruno Fernandes. I still think we are, as I said on Twitter this afternoon. I've been 90% sure we're going to sign him all summer. It has dropped. I have dropped to 70% sure, but that's still better than 50-50. And I will go down with this ship, specifically that one. I'm going to go down with that ship. That's the Bruno Fernandes ship there. Everybody remember, that is ship Bruno Fernandes, and I will sink with that ship if he doesn't sign. But look, will he sign or not? All I'll say is, and I know I'm saying that a lot, I've been on sangria, but what I would say is, it's Sunday night, I'm on holiday. What I would say is, and all I'll say is, that was on purpose, that any Manchester United signing is about the owners. It's not about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants Bruno Fernandes. We want Bruno Fernandes. It's about the owners. Bradley Bergam says Sky put out that we made a deal close to 70 million and it will be confirmed within the next 48 hours. Well, I've not heard that from Sky, but if they did, I'd suddenly get very excited. But I think Bradley he might be. That's a good shot. He might be bullshitting, to be totally French. But what I want to say is, and he is lying, says Bishop Nayak. What I would say is this, and all I'll say is this: on Bruno Fernandes, let's be patient. Let's be patient. On Harry Maguire, the little bit of breaking news I can give you about that, I've been told by not the same source about Harry Maguire that this deal will be done, medical, announced tomorrow, medical Tuesday. That's what I've been told. Now I don't know whether that's true. It's only what I've been told, and it's an untested source. But I do think we'll sign Harry Maguire. I mean, what you've got to factor in with Manchester United is they're now back from the tour, of course, and they've got a game in Norway on Tuesday. We'll be doing a watch along for that. These reports aren't going away. Is it being driven by the Portuguese press, Mark? We are 4-11 by the bookies, says Philip Burtonwood. I'll go back to Bruno Fernandes very, very quickly and say this. What I would say, Philip, is it's very interesting that, and Bruno Fernandes is not on holiday. He's had his holiday. He's now playing pre-season games. Bruno Fernandes is not on holiday. Bruno Fernandes is he is playing pre-season games for Manchester United. I want Bruno Fernandes to come to United. You know I do. I think Bruno Fernandes will come to United, and when he does, he's my baby, really. And I know people will say, "Oh, stop being a smug idiot," but you know, I will sink with. Let's see if we can get the right ship again. That one, I will sink with that ship if Bruno Fernandes doesn't sign. I'll take it on the chin. I've got a big one. If he does sign, I'm going to look very, very smug because I've been saying it since March. So let's see what happens. But it's got to come from someone credible first. It's got to come from Simon Peach. It's got to come from Simon Stone. It's got to be a breaking news Sky Sports fee has been agreed, and then I will get excited. And I never thought I would say that about Sky Sports, but they have been quite credible this summer. On Harry Maguire, I've heard that he will sign on Monday, medical Tuesday, and probably public on Wednesday and Thursday. Just take the day off and have a lamb lunch with your wife. I don't know. He's not married, but. Yeah, look, Harry Maguire I think will definitely happen. I've said that so many times, I'm bored of it myself. Do I think that anybody else will happen? Do I think that Paul Pogba is going to leave Manchester United? I don't know. I mean, Milinkovic-Savic is still floating around. He's like that one you can't flush, isn't he, Milinkovic-Savic? He just won't go away. But I still think it's a shit story. I really do. I don't think there's anything in Milinkovic-Savic. And I mean, look. What I would say is the interesting thing is we can have a laugh and we can have a joke, and that's what we do on the United Stand. But we're very serious about the club that we love. But are we on the edge of a cliff that's going to be a bouncy castle and we're going to bounce higher? I mean, that's almost how I feel about Manchester United at the moment. We're like on the edge of this cliff, and we're definitely going to get pushed off the cliff. But is there a big trampoline? Like, is there a Lukaku's first touch for us to bounce higher than where we jumped, or are we going to actually fall lower? And that's the thing with Manchester United. We're definitely going off a cliff here, and I think that that's a corker. Well, it looks worse. That is a corker there. Sun cream clogs my pores. But Sky Sports, I'm not going to agree. I'm not going to agree with what Sky Sports are saying off a live comment. So if they're saying it's done, I'm getting excited. But I don't. I'll have a look at that afterwards. But I've always said I thought we would sign Bruno Fernandes, in fairness. You know I have. But what I was going to say is that with regards to, and I'm playing for time when I say with regards to, because my brain's just clicking along. But if we sell Paul Pogba and we sign Bruno Fernandes and Milinkovic-Savic, that's a rebuild. Yabba dabba do. That is a rebuild. If we sell Paul Pogba and only sign Bruno Fernandes, if we sell Paul Pogba and only sign Milinkovic-Savic, where's the development in that? Where's the growth in that? Where's the rebuild in that? You're basically letting one of our best performers last season go to risk, because he wants to go, to bring in one other player. You've got to bring two in. You've got to bring two in. And actually, we haven't even replaced Ander Herrera yet, have we? So, yeah, I think that Manchester United have got to be looking to do more in this transfer window. But I'll tell you this, folks, for free. You can take this to the bank. Nobody knows what Manchester United is doing at the moment. I'm not, United Stand, biggest fan channel out there. Get information, talk to you lot. We're a fan channel. That's what we do. We're not beholden to bloody deadlines for newspapers. We're not beholden to anything other than being a fan channel and talking about news. We can talk about a Daily Star article and say it's a load of shit. We can talk about, the most credible story ever and think it's a load of rubbish. I've seen people telling Simon Stone didn't know what he's on about today. He was a BBC journalist, very, very credible. But you know, that's the beauty of fan opinion. You can say what you like. You can say Ronaldo played shit when he's one of the best players ever in the world. That's the brilliance of fan opinion. But what I will say is, and what I do know is, because I've spoken to a few people who are relatively close to the club, and you could say it's a worrying thing, you could say it's a good thing, is nothing's on the horizon. Nobody knows anything. Not even with regards to Harry Maguire. Nobody knows anything about that. So it's rather interesting, isn't it, that nobody knows what's going on at Manchester United, and that, when you factor into the fact that United are slow at transfer windows, they take ages to do it, they leak like a sieve, they do leak like a sieve, and nobody knows what's going on. So no credible outlet knows what United's up to. Nobody knows what's going to go on. Is that because nothing is going to go on? Is that because United have suddenly, closed all the leaks at the club? And I'll tell you what, there's so many leaks at that club. We get different leaks from somebody else who says he gets leaks. You've got somebody on Twitter who knows that an official signing's happening an hour before it does. We knew that the Wan-Bissaka deal was happening an hour before it does, but the person who knew Daniel James was happening an hour before it does didn't know. This is the thing at Manchester United. People don't realise it. Biggest football club in the world, and I've worked for big banks and all sorts of stuff. At Manchester United, biggest football club in the world, have got multiple leaks. I don't know whether it's because they don't pay their staff very well or whatever, but loads of people, when they say, "Oh, I've had this, I've had that," they have had that probably, because we saw it in the summer. You had a certain person who I get on with very well. He said Daniel James is going to sign at 3 o'clock, and he signed at 3 o'clock. 2 weeks ago, he said Harry Maguire's a done deal and Bruno Fernandes is moving along nicely. Harry Maguire goes and plays 3 pre-season games, and the club come out and say they're not in for Bruno Fernandes. Drawty tells me Wan-Bissaka's going to sign at midday. I'm at my daughter's football tournament at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I really don't want to be doing a live video now. You don't be pissing about. He says, get ready, it's going to happen. Midday, it happens. He said something else to me the next weekend. We're going to sign 2 players this weekend. We didn't sign anybody. So nobody knows, and I wouldn't bullshit you. I'm not going to pretend anything. This is why I'm not telling you Bruno Fernandes, oh yeah, it's going to happen. I'm not going to tell you that, because I think it will happen, but I don't believe any of the stories at the moment. So yeah, it's not a green screen. You can't do that on a green screen. Whoa, imagine if I fell off live. I'm 6 floors down. I'm 5 floors up. Sky Sports have said it. Swear on my mum's life, says Lee Nicholl. Look, I'll tell you what, I'll give you some of that. If Bruno Fernandes signs for Manchester United, we're on easy street. No, we're not, but he'd be a fantastic signing. But I've got to be honest with you, I'm going to go down Azmoun to MUFC, says Rabani. I've said to you before, let me find my ship. I will go down. That's the ship, Bruno Fernandes there. That's Bruno Fernandes' ship, right there. That is going to sink, or I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. That is going to sink if we don't sign him. And if we do sign him, I'm jumping on that, lagered up, and we're just going to go bombing out to sea at 100 miles an hour. We don't give a shit. But I don't know. I don't know whether it's going to happen at this point. I think it will happen, but it could be a Schneider. It could be a Ronaldinho. It could be a Vidal. We've had these. So I'm a lot older than you lot, and some of you lot are as old as me. I don't know what's going to happen this summer with Manchester United, because I've lived with this board, and it's not just Woodward. Ronaldinho shouldn't have happened either, and we fucked that up. So it's not MPH, says Harry, a boater. But I'll give you that background actually. Ow. So we'll scrub that out later. But I don't know what's going to happen with Manchester United. I really don't. And nobody does. But what is always the fact, and I've got to tell you this, what is always the fact is it comes down to the board. It always comes down to the board. And I get fed up of repeating myself, but my recap for you tonight is Bruno Fernandes, all this done deal stuff, don't believe it, because I think it will happen, but I don't know when it's going to happen. And I certainly don't believe this stuff that's going on at the moment. Harry Maguire, I think it will happen. I've been told announcement tomorrow, medical Tuesday, official pictures on a horse on Wednesday, whatever the gimmick is. But I stand by what I said this morning. We're not going to have the transfer window I wanted us to have. I wanted us to have this amazing transfer window, and I don't think we're not going to have it. Not in 10 days. We can get a couple of signings done, and I'd be very, very happy with that. But nobody knows what's going on, and that could mean two things. United have suddenly closed off everything, and there are no leaks, or they're not doing anything. And what terrifies me the most is, and I tell you what, I'm going to try and relax, and I'm going to try and think about it, because Thursday the 8th of August, factually, we'll know what the net spend is, we'll know what we spent, we'll know who we've bought, and I think United are in for a lot of trouble with that. There's some really good people out there who are just adamantly messaging me all the time saying, get the United stand behind the Glazer out movement, and I just keep saying to them, I'm not the United stand. The United stand is way bigger than me. I know I present it, but I'm not the United stand. So the United stand is not Glazer out, it's not Glazer in. The United stand is whatever anybody wants it to be. If I say I'm Glazer in or I'm Glazer out, that doesn't make the United stand Glazer in or Glazer out. But if they bring in a manager that we want to get behind because he's a club legend, and then they don't back that manager, and we have a net spend of 0 or 60 million again, I worked in business. You don't need to work in business. It's a load of bollocks. You've got massive revenues at this club for the last 6 years, and the net spend is minimal. Where's that money going? It's going to bloody loans to their bloody grandkids and all this sort of bollocks. It's not acceptable anymore, and what it needs is credible people behind it to start saying, look, this is our football club. Are we just going to be? What you're going to do? Put a single of Ollie's at the wheel out, and we'll forget the fact that you're taking millions out of our club. Very, very interesting couple of weeks coming up. Nick P says, let's face it, the board are patting themselves on the back. Good vibes in pre-season. Everyone's happy. Youth are playing. It's the arrogance I expect. But you know what, Nick? I want to say about that. I'm not kidded by the youth of Manchester United at all. I think we've got some brilliant players. I think Greenwood's brilliant. I think Chon and Gomez have got potential. I think McTominay's got potential, and Pereira's got potential. But I'm old. I remember the class of '92 in the mid-90s when they came through. That wasn't potential. That was Paul Scholes, David Beckham, Ryan Giggs. They were world-class players, and they came into a team that had world-class players to nurture them. Schmeichel, Keane, Cantona, Bruce, Irwin, just to name a few others. I don't care what anybody says. You can be as optimistic as you bloody want about this team. It ain't doing anything if we don't spend money, because especially if Pogba goes. It doesn't matter how good Greenwood is. He needs to be nurtured. And who's he going to be nurtured by? When Rashford and Martial haven't even reached, they're not experienced, they haven't reached their potential because they've not been nurtured properly. Lingard's still got potential at 27. It tells you everything. These young lads are going to come into a team that's not ready. Rohan Goal says, my dream incomings are Maguire, Fernandes and McGinn. I've heard about this McGinn stuff. He's well thought of. It's, yeah, big up to Flex and Josh. They had a bloody nightmare getting back from China. They're nearly still there, but they're back now, thank God. I can't find the fruit seller anywhere, Ewan Gordon. I've looked for him everywhere and I can't find him. Make sure you smash a like on the video anyway, because this is probably one of the best we've ever done. Don't spin around again, because I fell over, but I think I got away with it. That was the better. I've made a mistake there. That was the better lighting angle. That was the glory shot. Yeah, I can actually see my wife and kids down there, and if I knock it down, so could you if you knew who they were. It is a bit windy up there, that's why. Too much wind if you turn it that way. That's why you sort of have to come in here, but you lose a little bit of light. Shout at them. You can't. I would do something. I'm not falling for Ian Sherrell saying that I'm not an amateur. Look, this is not me in my mum's bedroom anymore. This is Premier League now. I've got Manchester behind me. Not falling for your little things. People are telling me to jump. That's disgusting. This is not going to be one of those. Somebody just said, scream Manchester United. I tell you what, just down there, you can't really see it, but just down there, they're all bars below there. there's somebody showing Liverpool versus Napoli at 6 o'clock, which I was walking past just after my dinner, and I did say United, but there's only about 3 Liverpool fans in there, and they just turned around and smiled, and I thought, yeah, you're one of the new breed, aren't you? You got no banter. Ian Sharani, I'm not going to give you the shout out about it. I'm not that stupid. Okay, yeah, so look, let me just recap it, because people love a bloody recap, and this is probably going to be the best bloody recap we get, unless we go to bloody Rio. Just need that big Jesus behind me, don't we? The Sky Sports article about Bruno was from The Sport, which is a Spanish outlet, which leads into the recap very nicely. Please do smash a like on the video, everybody. Be nice to hit 1,000 likes while we're live, and make sure you're subscribing if you're new. Transfer Daily will be live tomorrow, and it will be from a different location. We'll be back on the beach tomorrow for Transfer Daily. If anyone remembers them from last year, if we're going to see the fruit salad, we'll see him tomorrow. That's all I'll say. Praveen Thomas says the report that said Man United were not in for Pepe much earlier had also said we were not in for Bruno Fernandes. What on earth is going on with the club? Praveen, you've hit the nail on the head there. I want to just say that you've hit the nail on the head there, because that is the situation with Manchester United, pure and simple every time, lightning seeds. Nobody's got a bloody clue what United are doing. So everybody who says we're not in for them, everybody who says that we're in, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt until it comes from somebody credible. Because my stance at the moment